Welcome to Be Feminine, where psychology meets connection and where understanding her heart becomes your superpower. If you are here to learn how to stand out in a world where attention is scarce and competition is everywhere, you are in the right place. Let's talk about the one thing that, if done genuinely and just once, can shift everything in your favor even if she has 100 other guys chasing her. You see, when a woman has options, it's not just about looks or status. It's not always about money or charm either. It's about impact. It is about how you make her feel in one single moment that others can't replicate. And most men, no matter how well dressed or smooth they are, completely miss the mark. They're so busy trying to impress that they forget to connect. So here's the truth: if you do this one thing right, you won't need to compete, because you'll be in a category of your own. Let me start by telling you something women don't often say out loud but feel deeply. A woman doesn't fall for a guy simply because he's better than the others. She falls because he makes her feel seen in a way that makes the rest feel invisible. And ironically, the moment of being seen often happens not during a fancy date or a romantic text, but in an unexpected moment when your presence, not your performance, does the talking. This is what we mean by do this once. And it's not a magic trick, a line, or a gesture that you can copy from someone else. It has a specific kind of attention, the kind that locks her into the moment with you and makes her feel like the only woman in the room. This is called emotional anchoring, and it's backed by psychology. When someone experiences a surge of positive emotion and links it to a person, their brain remembers that person through the emotional lens, meaning she may forget what you said, but she'll never forget how you made her feel. Imagine this: she's used to getting attention. She's attractive, smart, social, and maybe even a little tired of the games. But you're different. You're not trying to win her. You're just present. You're genuinely curious. You ask a question not just to fill the silence, but because you want to know what she thinks, how she feels, what she believes in. In that moment, something clicks. She pauses, looks at you differently. Her tone softens, her eyes linger. That's the moment. That's the one thing. You just made her feel emotionally safe, understood, and intrigued all in one move. Most men try too hard to convince a woman they're worth choosing. But when you do this right, you become a mirror to her inner world. You reflect back to her a version of herself that feels accepted, admired, and emotionally stimulated. And here's where it gets real: women don't chase looks, they chase connection. If she can be vulnerable with you and not feel judged, if she can open up without feeling exposed, you've just become irreplaceable. But here's the catch: this must come from a genuine place. If you're doing it just to manipulate or impress her, she'll know. Women are incredibly intuitive when it comes to emotional energy. They can smell inauthenticity from miles away. So the magic only works if you're actually present, if you actually care, if you're actually grounded enough to not need her to choose you but would still love for her to. That's the paradox. When you stop trying to win her and start trying to know her, you win her heart. And you only need to do that once, because the moment it happens, it creates an emotional imprint in her mind that other guys can't erase. They might bring flowers or send flirty texts, but you gave her something deeper. A moment of emotional clarity. A moment of connection. Let's get even more real for a second. We live in a world of fast attention spans. Everyone's distracted. People swipe more than they speak. But in a noisy world, the deepest form of seduction is stillness. It's listening without interrupting. It's making eye contact that says, "I'm here." It's not being in a rush to impress but choosing to understand. That's the thing she won't forget. And when she feels that, it becomes incredibly hard to compare you with anyone else, because you didn't just offer her a moment. You offered her meaning. Another thing most guys overlook is emotional pacing. When you meet a woman with options, she's used to people rushing things. Compliments, confessions, DMs, all hitting her at once. But if you slow it down just enough to show that you are not desperate, you send a different message. You're saying, "I value connection over conquest, and that is deeply attractive to a woman who is exhausted by shallow attention. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect, or mysterious, or play games. It means you allow her space to feel, think, and be without trying to control the outcome. And when she experiences that, her brain starts associating you with comfort, curiosity, and emotional safety. That's what forms attachment. That's what makes her think of you at night. That is what makes her compare every other guy to you and feel like something is missing. Let me give you a simple example from psychology. Ever heard of the peak end rule? It says that people remember experiences based on the most intense part and the end. So if your one interaction creates an emotional high and ends with grace, warmth, and curiosity, she'll remember it more vividly than 10 average conversations. That one moment, that one interaction has now anchored you in her mind. Not because you were perfect, but because you were present. Now let's go even deeper. There is another layer to all of this, and it's often unspoken. It's the masculine calm, the energy of a man who is centered, a man who doesn't need validation, a man who listens more than he talks. That kind of energy feels rare, and that's why it stands out. When you show up with emotional clarity and calm confidence, you change the rhythm of the room, and she feels that in her body, not just her mind. This is why being grounded is so powerful, because it's not just about what you say, it's about the vibe you carry. Do you radiate presence or pressure? Are you trying to perform or just exist in the moment? The moment you drop the need to impress, you begin to attract effortlessly. Because you're no longer playing the game, you've become the exception. And guess what? That one moment of real presence doesn't have to be dramatic. It can happen during a simple walk, a conversation under the stars, a genuine laugh at something small. When she sees that you're not trying to sell yourself, she starts wondering why you're so comfortable in your own skin. And that curiosity, that mystery, is magnetic. Now, if you've been watching this far, I want to say this. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to strip away everything that has been getting in the way of your natural presence. Drop the scripts, drop the overthinking, drop the chase, and simply choose to be more here, more now. Because that version of you, the grounded, curious, attentive one, is the man she has been hoping to find but didn't know how to ask for. So the next time you meet someone who seems out of reach, or already has a world of attention around her, don't compete with it. Just connect. Just do that one thing, once make her feel deeply seen, heard, and understood. That's the moment she'll remember. That's the moment she'll choose you over every other guy. Thank you for watching Be Feminine, the place where human psychology meets real connection. If this resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the smallest shift in presence can make the biggest impact in love. Until next time, stay grounded, stay genuine, and never forget the right moment, done right, only has to happen once.